So the calendar says no lecture, but then in the folder, it says I'm gonna cover threads. So I'm gonna cover threads. I'll record it. People who aren't here can see it. It's project workday. You do have a project check-in assignment, so I think that is due tomorrow. So what it says is you're supposed to post up PDFs of your progress. You're supposed to post up your log because you're supposed to be keeping a log of how much time things take. So if you post up, 2 parts, I should be able to see like how long it took you to make part 1 and how long it took you to make part 2. So if you're not been keeping that log, keep that log. We want to know how long it takes to model things. And then goals for the week on your project. So that's here, due tomorrow. Questions on that?
Could the log feel like the Excel just?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You go over animation here?
No, we'll get there. It's a pretty easy little animation file, but we have to have an assembly with moving parts. So I thought I'd let you get further along. I'm gonna go over threads. Because it does.
Let's do next week.
Yep. Yep. So we may make the animations on that last day. But that's okay. It's just a little movie file.
Next week's the final week, right?
Yep. That is the last week of the term. Yeah. Okay, the good news is threads are a lot easier than they used to be. Even to get cut threads. So we used to have to cut these threads by hand. And now it cuts them for us. So that's super cool. We used to have to like do a revolved cut and have a helix to follow. But now it's made easy for you. So if I want to put a thread on this end, I was going to show you how to load up. So it's a feature and it's called thread. And I actually loaded it here. So if you want to load tools onto the toolbar, like in here, it's going to get erased every time. So that's really, you can do it, but the next day it'll be gone. But if you have the software on your laptop and you want to load a feature that's not on the list, like threads was not on the list. So I had to load it. So I went into customize. In customize, you can see commands. And they're organized by what kind of a command it is. And there's a lot in here, I get that. But we have used features is the one we've used. So these are the features. We haven't used all of them, but those are the features we've used. Like extrude is right there. If you mouse over them, it tells you what they are, right? So right there is thread. And I literally just took it, drug it up here and placed it. So that's kind of cool. If you know you're going to do a lot, I don't need 2 of them, but I just showed you. I wonder if I can put them away the same way. Oh yeah, put them away the same way. Right? So it wasn't on this, it wasn't in the toolbar. So I loaded it. Now it's in features. When I click thread, it opens the thread dialog box. This says it's not available. And I say, okay, it opens it. So it must not be in an active, excuse me, in an active toolbar or something, be my guess. So over here is where you define the thread. So what kind of thread, because there's external threads and internal threads, right? So an internal thread would be a tap, an external thread would be a die. So this is a die. It's a tool that makes the thread. It's called a die. So inch die. And then you can choose like how many threads you want per inch. So there's a selection here, or you can choose to do it by revolutions. So it's however you want to do it. I could do it by revolutions. So it could be like 5 revolutions per inch. That would be 5 threads per inch. Most of the time, the thread's going to be called out to you and you just have to reproduce it, right? You'll just choose it. So I think this is a 2-inch. So I'll do like a 3-inch by 12. That would be 12 threads per 3 inches, or 3 to 12 activity. So here it wants to know like where the edge is of the start. So if you choose that, it's gonna put it on. It's much coarser than this one. And then you can choose like how far it goes. I mean, you have full control over everything, so. Let's see here. We'll go up to 15. And then when you hit green check, it cuts them in. That's pretty cool. The end's never pretty. This one actually has a pretty nice start to it, like that. It's got kind of a big chunk out of it here. See how it just automatically just cuts it out of. So you'd never actually be able to spin anything on that. But still, it's kind of a cosmetic thread. What I did on the other end was I chamfered that off and made it more of a real start where a nut could actually spin on there. So that was just a revolved cut. So that is here. So if you want to see what I did, I just made a region that I'm gonna then just spin around in a circle as a cut. So this is what it looked like before I did it. Right, had that same chunky look to the end of it, just not a real great thread. I mean, it looks good kind of right in here, but then there's this big block. So you start a sketch, make a shape, and then revolve it around. And it'll cut that off. Again, personal preference. Depends on how good you want it to look. This actually looks pretty good for putting a thread on. Like, it's nice. That's it. Super simple with the thread tool. So I'm guessing that's probably in this latest version of SolidWorks. Because older versions did not have that. I did that first. Then I did that thread. Then I did a little center line because I needed something to revolve around. Then I did that. Good. So one more time, where to get that? You right click and you customize. It comes into toolbars. So this is a toolbar, right? It's the feature toolbar. So I then went to commands, and commands are organized by kind of what they do. And features is one of the areas. And there was thread right there. Grab it and drag it up. If you wanted one of these other ones, you know, you just grab it. Dome. Bring it up. Now you have the dome tool. So these toolbars are only loaded with the most common. There's other commands. Yeah.
Another question. It's not really into that, but how do you like color apart but not change the material? Like just
Yeah, that's here. Appearances. So if you click on that and that, you don't have a lot loaded. I mean, there's scenes, there's all kinds of things.
where do you actually like how do you actually change the color?
So here and then here. So I just clicked on it, right? I just clicked on that and here it is. And it'll open the same thing up. Right now, it is that color. Yeah. If I click on the color, it should open the, yeah, it opened the color wheel. Yeah, so you can make it like,
So I was trying to find
Yeah.
material to make it.
yeah, it's nice to have a lighter color. For some reason, it really makes things dark. Like the last part I was doing, was like, it's so dark. I think students could see it better if it was lighter. So that, I don't know where that went. No, not that one. That's concrete. Yeah, still kind of dark. All right. Questions? Now you know how to thread. It's a work day.